Good afternoon, my spirited community. Deborah Roth here with another installation, another look at a fabulous goddess from around the world as part of our Inner Goddess team. And when I first started doing these videos back in August of 2020, in the summer of the pandemic, I did this longish explanation of what that all meant. And when I move this over to YouTube, usually by the Thursday of every week, by Thursday night. And there, if you click on a little button in the corner, I think on the I button, scroll your mouse over it, you can get a full description of what I mean by the divine feminine and why everyone needs the goddess, whether you're regardless of your gender. So, and I'm reminded of that in particular because the goddess that came up today is actually one of the few that I've done before. She was actually one of the very first ones. I jumped into her energy in August of 2020. So she might have been the second or third Inner Goddess Team video that I did. And it's Bast, the Egyptian cat-headed goddess Bast. And she comes up this time of year because we are in the Leo season, which I talked about last week when I gave you all kinds of fascinating information about the Lion's Gate, and when we acknowledged Sekhmet, who's the lion-headed goddess, the sister, actually, thought to be the sister of Bast. So back then, I gave the whole spiel about what the divine feminine is all about and why we all need the goddess in my Bast video. And if you look at that, and I'll include the link to that in the YouTube description, you'll see that description at the beginning of that video. And you'll also get a meditation, really lovely meditation that really brings out one aspect of Bast, and that is her role as protector of the home, of domestic life, of cats being domesticated wild cats. I'm kind of wearing my wild cat dress today, and she's typically represented as a beautiful woman with a cat head, and in this particular one, she is holding what's called a sistrum, which is a kind of a combination of rattle and drum. And in this hand, you can't really see it, but it's there. And in this hand, the Ankh, which is the symbol of life. And she really, on so many levels, she was also the goddess of fertility, of childbirth. She's who you would call on when you are about to give birth or when you want to make a baby. And ironically, in a kind of fun way, when I highlighted Bast in August of 2020, it was just a couple weeks before one of my wonderful daughters-in-law, was about to give birth. This time, the other one of my wonderful daughters-in-law is going to give birth, not this month, but in October, presumably towards the end of October. So I am sending all kind of Bast childbirth protective energy to her as well, just as I did to the other one 3 years ago. Wow. So more about Bast. She was the daughter of Ra, who was the sun god. And it was said that for millions of years, she rode with him in his chariot through the heavens to bring the sun back every morning. And that she particularly kept a lookout at night when he was not riding his chariot for his arch enemy, whose name I'm going to forget. Hold on, look at my notes. Apep, who was a serpent. And she transformed herself into a cat to do that. And all of his other disciples, all of Ra's followers, tried to figure out ways to keep the serpent from destroying him, because, of course, if that happened, there would be no sun, and therefore there would be no humanity. And she was actually the one that figured out how to do that. And because of that, she ensured that humankind would continue to flourish and bless the earth. And so she's often known as Lady of the East, which is where the sun rises, the all-seeing eye, the goddess of the rising sun. But at the same time, she was also acknowledged, had kind of a multi-purpose role. She was also acknowledged as a moon goddess. In her personification as Cat, her glowing eyes were supposed to remind you of the moon and lighting things up at night. You know how cat's eyes glow in the night. So I thought that was kind of cool. I had so much fun. She is so well known. Bast or Bastet, Bast with an ET on the end, are what she's typically known as. And I wanted to find a chant, which I kind of made one up from one of my favorite tunes, one of my favorite chant tunes, and I'll share with you when we wind up. But I found all kinds of just wonderful, I found lots of beautiful prayers to Bast, and found this beautiful hour-long, very soothing piece of music that's in, and the very beginning of it, it says it's 777 hertz. And apparently that frequency is thought to be deeply relaxing and to help you, the way that it was described when I looked it up, help you achieve your next test or next interview. And that it literally reconnects you to your purest self and can also cleanse you of traumatic experiences. That's the 777 hertz frequency in music. And so while I was researching all of this fun stuff, I listened to this beautiful piece on YouTube, which I will include the link to that on the YouTube description as well. Now, I've told you a little bit about one of her legends. She is also, as much as she was a protector, she was also known as the goddess of music and dance and joy and pleasure, which is actually the direction I'm taking. And she, in my new moon circle, my Leo new moon circle. Now, no coincidence that I did Sekhmet last week and Bast this week, because we are in the Leo season. We are in the time when Leo is in the heavens. My new moon in Leo circle, my virtual circle, is tomorrow at noon at the Wellness Universe. I always include the link for that in the YouTube description. So if you're watching this now, you can tune into that if you want. And then there's also the recording that's always up there that you can listen to it at a later time. So I love that so much of what Bast is about coincides with Leo energy, which is creative self-expression, which is play. The picture that I posted for my new moon circle was children playing, and the theme of our Leo new moon circle will be playing with our inner child. So that is so beautifully in sync with Bast's energy. And to that end, she loved bright colors, she loved beauty, all of that. And the name of her temple was, that's interesting. It's spelled different ways. Baobastis, or Baobastis, which means the house of Bast. And it was the center of her worship in Egypt. And great celebrations were held there. Apparently, boatloads and boatloads of people would appear at her temple for celebrations in her honor. And they would include that the temple was made of, I think it was pink marble, and beautiful trees surrounded it. None of it, of course, remains, sadly. It's all in ruins. But people feasted, and there was a big trade fair that went on when, as soon as they got there. And they were, in some of the writing from that time, they talk about these beautiful flute melodies that took people, hey, wonderful to see you. Wonderful, Kiana. People knew that in order to invoke her and to celebrate her, and also to beseech her for protection. Remember, she's a big protection goddess, but also in your ability to remind you to play, to have fun, that there was always music and dance going on with Bast. What else do I want to tell you about her? Oh, let's talk a little bit about her cat association. So her temple apparently was filled with cats, sacred cats, and they were one of the things that I found is that she, if there was a fire in nearby her temple. They would send legions of cats out to fight the fire, to draw people, would run into the flames, drawing them out of the building. So it was kind of like the first fire brigade. And in some things that I found talk about her being like a patron of firefighters for that reason. And obviously because she was revered and there were so many of them in her temple, Egyptians, supported that, and they domesticated wild cats, which basically, I should interject here, which basically, Bast started out as a roaring, also lion-headed, very fierce. That's the fierce protector aspect of her, like Sekhmet. But she was in fact domesticated herself, still very powerful. But the idea was when cats were domesticated, they were used to get rid of rats who would, back when agriculture started happening, they would get rid of rats, which meant that humankind would not starve. And they would even put gold jewelry on the palace cats to show how they were revered in honor of Bast. So I've given you a couple hints of how you might invoke Bast, how you might call on her. Draw a picture of a cat and ask her to come to you for protection. Take some time to really think about how you can access your inner child, your playful, fun-loving self. She's there somewhere. Come to our new moon circle and the wellness universe on tomorrow at noon. And at this point, I'm gonna teach you a chant that's you'll recognize the tune if you've heard me. Well, many of you have heard me do my chants because I love to do that. And this is one that really captures the joy, dancing, music side of her. So I invite you to just kind of take it in and then take it with you when I sign off, and do a little jiving. Actually, if I had I don't have it nearby. If I had my tambourine, kind of like a cistern. Hold on, I'm going to grab it. Just a little spontaneous. I do have a rattle, which is like her sistrum. But then I also have a wonderful rick, which is a Middle Eastern. This is my rick. So kind of like a sistrum, not shaped the same at all. So this, and I'll just do it quietly so you can hear me. So see if I can remember my words to this. We are dancing, we are dancing, we are dancing, we are dancing. We dance with Bast to the beat of her drum. Beat by beat, we dance as one. We dance with Bast to the beat of her drum. We beat by beat, we dance as one. We are dancing. We are dancing. We are dancing. We are dancing. We dance with Bast to the beat of her drum. Beat by beat, we dance as one. We dance with Bast to the beat of her drum. We dance with Bast, beat by beat, we dance as one. So my little makeshift sistrum here. Thanks for joining me. Go forth and celebrate and play today in this beautiful, at least in the Northern Hemisphere, these beautiful summer days that are slowly winding towards the end. But go celebrate Bast and celebrate your own ability to play and have fun and to walk through life protected by her. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.